soy el fuego que...
Hey everybody, welcome back to your Realtor Sensei show. I am Sandra Jauregui Schlapitz, and today our guest is Bobby Davidowitz. Did I
Yes.
say did I say it
No,
right?
very close. Davidowitz. And
David.
it just occurred to me that I'm looking at your last name and I'm like, man, I mean, like we got the ITZ. We're like the ITZ crew.
Yeah, I'm Schlapitz, so I didn't pronounce yours very well, but thank you very much for your time, Bobby. I'm very honored to have you in the show and happy that you had the time to be here. So, Bobby, tell us a little bit about your story and how did you end up in real estate?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm originally from Puerto Rico. Don't let the last name confuse you. I'm a Jew Rican, right? So I'm primarily I'm 75% Puerto Rican, a quarter Jewish, and I was born in Puerto Rico. Moved to Orlando, Florida, when I was 5 years old. Basically grew up here in Central Florida. So basically, I got into real estate by accident. So I graduated college. I didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life, as a lot of college graduates do. Funny enough, I want to like write a book about like having kids go straight from high school into real estate rather than college, because like most kids don't know what to do with their life at 18 years old. Like you might as well get into real estate. And I feel like you get like 5 degrees in real estate, from marketing to negotiation to sales to entrepreneurship. But anyway, so I left college. I was lost. I didn't know what to do. Started working at a nightclub for a while, and then I just got sick of the nightlife, and it was just like, okay, I can't like keep stalling the real world anymore. And I ran into a guy who was opening up a mortgage company, and he's like, "You think you'd want to be a mortgage broker?" And I was like, "I don't even know what a mortgage is, but yeah, let's do it." Uh, so I was about 21, 22 years old, and started there, and then so very quickly I started to learn the ropes. Obviously it's 100% commission business, just like real estate is. And then soon after, I opened up my own mortgage company. So I had a mortgage company from 03 to '07. As you well know, '07, '08 were special times in our real estate game. And So as that started to come on, I realized that this was my opportunity to go pursue some other things that I wanted to do in entertainment and also in marketing and branding. And I did that for a while, about 7 years, and then I realized that I just wasn't on the path to my main goal, which was always financial freedom. At the end of the day, I had looked around and observed the world, and I realized that unless you have financial freedom, it's really hard to be free, and it's really hard to live life on your own terms. And I was always searching for it and reading about it and doing it, but I didn't have a vehicle. And real estate kind of found me again. In 2005, I had gotten my real estate license, and I just did my own investments. I do a deal or two for friends a year, but I never considered myself a professional realtor till about 7 years ago. And then, sure enough, I started in the investment side with a buddy of mine doing some wholesaling. And through that, I started getting some listing leads. And I was like, oh man, I should find a realtor to help me out. Not even thinking that I was going to be the one listing it, right? I was just like, nah, I'll let somebody else do that. And sure enough, I ran into a young lady who worked for a franchise in downtown Orlando called Exit Realty. So a few weeks after I met with her, I came to that brokerage. I went to that office, and I just really loved the energy and vibe. You get to this point in your life sometimes when you're just going on intuition, and
Yes.
and and in that moment, I just felt like I should hang my license here. It just feels right, and I did. And a few weeks later, I met the broker, and that broker's name was Gil Ramos. And so that was the first time Gil and I met. And we just had lunch one day, and he's asking me questions about me. I'm asking questions about him, and I realized, man, this guy has a big vision. He's looking to do big things in life the same way as me. He happened to be Puerto Rican too, so we hit it off on that realm. And so I just started as an agent. I just started working myself up and really becoming a professional. And then little by little, started growing in the company, started growing in my influence within the company. And Gil and I were already in talks about partnering up together. He talked to me about doing that coaching program, which I know we'll talk about. So we created a program called the Talent Development Program to coach agents. So I coached all the new agents in the office for about 3 years. And then, we'll get into the EXP story in a minute, but basically, long story short, we were looking for what the next level was. And, as you know, Carlos, a gentleman named Carlos German, kept, pestering Gil about this EXP thing, and, finally it stuck. And, we've been, going ever since. It's been 2.5 years, and, we had about 70 agents when we came in. We transferred that exit realty brokerage into the EXP model, and now we're over 1,200 agents in over 20 states and multiple countries, and growing about 50 to 80 agents every 30 days. So we're just
Wow.
we're super excited, and we're blessed.
So you are one of the founders of the Alliance group at EXP Realty.
Correct. Yeah, it was initially, and we like to say everybody's, everybody who's part of the Alliance is the founder of the Alliance. It's just the initial group that came together to say that we were going to be a family, right? This was a very unique thing that we did. We all came together and said, no matter whose downline you're in, we're going to come together. And so that was, obviously Veronica Figueroa, Carlos German, myself, and Gil, and then obviously other people joined that. Josue and Rebecca Soto were part of that as well. So we just came together and said, hey, look, we're just going to make a big splash, and we're going to lock arms together, and we're going to be a family. And now the family spread all over the country and in other countries too. So we're excited.
I see that you are in 18 states and multiple countries, and the movement continues. I am amazed with the collaboration that you guys created in Orlando. And like you said, it's not just Orlando anymore, it's going everywhere. And that's very contagious. And that's very empowered for us that we are not there. We are in Florida, but we're not there.
Right.
And bringing together all these groups and different, like you said, it doesn't matter who is your sponsor, but be together, form an alliance, and be part of the global alliance is really the greatest thing, because you can feel the love, you can feel the collaboration. So it's amazing. It's amazing to see how you guys created that group, and everybody's hanging from that group and learning from you guys. So it's very nice. So give us some insight about the culture you and Gil developed and why EXP was a natural fit.
Yeah. So, one of the brilliant things that EXP did, and I think it's not spoken about, you were just mentioning it, was a spirit of collaboration. And so if you talk to most people who are in EXP, they'll tell you that's one of their number one things. They love the collaboration. They love the fact that because we're in this thing together, no matter if you're in my line or somebody else's line, you're an owner in this company, right? Everybody who is part of EXP will become a shareholder in the company. So it's just an incentive to see the growth, and that's been huge. But prior to that, the reason it was a natural fit was because, remember, I joined Gil's brokerage, which was Exit Realty at the time, and one of the things that impressed me about Gil was his passion for developing people. There was a couple things that, a couple mantras that we still talk about today. And number one is, we don't cover up our paper here. We always help each other out, no matter who you are. Even when we were Exit Realty, we were like that. We were collaborators, right? We would tell everybody in this office, like, if somebody needs your help, you help them. Like, that's what it is. The other portion was, coaching and development. Gil was one of the very few brokers in an old brokerage model who had a passion for seeing people grow and to actually coach them and train them. And I thought that was a really special quality. And we just kept that same energy and just brought it to a model that actually helped us grow exponentially with these things. Like, we're big Tony Robbins followers. He says, if you want to make the most money, you got to add the most value. And we felt like, man, we add a ton of value, even in the old brokerage model. But imagine if we were to put it in a model that scales, that grows on itself, that as people pick up this mission and this culture, they can spread it to other people so that other people can grow as well. And that's why it was so exciting when I was first brought the model. I was, oh my gosh, I was like, this is it. Like, this is what we've been. This is the vehicle. Like I said, the vehicle that I was looking for.
Wow. Wow, that is unbelievable. So, how your mindset shapes a winning culture?
How are well?
The
Here's one
mindset.
thing yeah, of course. So here's the deal. We understood about 5-6 years ago. Gil and I went to our first Tony Robbins event, and we went to this event. There's 7,000 people there. We left that event just on fire, and it changed us so dramatically that we just felt like, oh my God, we got to share this with the culture, because we understood. I understood very clearly after that mindset is everything, right? So the reality is that we were talking about teams and stuff like that. At the end of the day, you can give somebody $1 million plan, but they won't execute on that plan unless they believe that they deserve to execute on that plan, that they deserve the results that come from that plan, that they believe they're worthy of that. The funny part is that skills are actually quite easy to learn. I tell agents all the time, I'm like, if you were self-disciplined enough to spend 4 hours on Google, on YouTube, you'd probably know more than most people know about real estate. You go, but what you got to ask yourself is, why aren't you doing it? Why aren't you becoming a professional in the game like that? And what it comes down to is that it's whatever we believe about ourselves, or whatever we believe the potential is of the actions that we take. And so if we don't solve the mindset part first, it's you're dead in the water. So that's our mindset, is actions get results, right? Like I want to get you into the mode of thinking bigger, believing that you're worth it. Let's get rid of all the old stories that have been holding you back, right? The ones that you've had in your mind since you were 7 years old because of whatever trauma you faced. Let's go ahead and wipe those off the table, right? And let's start again with a plan that's yours, right? Let's now say, hey, you're worthy of the success that you could have if you execute on this plan. It doesn't take a lot of faith. I can show you a million success stories. I mean, you're a success story. I can show you many people in our office who are not only top producers, but are making considerable residual income, right? But the thing is that you're always questioning it if you're going back to the story that it's not for you, or you don't have what it takes, or whatever the case may be. So that's kind of, one thing I always loved about working with Gil is he stretches you, man. He's one of those people that kind of puts you out on that ledge and be like, hey man, you got to jump, and kind of, do things. So he gave me, over those, 5-6 years that we were working together, like, so many times to step up, right? Just say, hey, Bobby, his favorite line is, it's your show, man. Go ahead. And even if you're like totally unprepared, like, he's the kind of guy that you'll be just sitting like, he'll be up there speaking, you'll be sitting in the crowd and be like, you know what, Bobby, come up here, man. Tell him a little something about this or that. And you'll be like, oh, what?
Oh yes.
Oh, okay, I guess we're doing it, right? Like, so, the thing is that's kind of contagious. And that's cool part is now we've developed enough leaders where those leaders are now creating leaders. And that's what's really exciting about it.
Wow, I love that. It's I believe in that because I came to this country with three little kids and I started from nothing. I actually rode my bicycle for a year, dropping my kids, going to work. I was
Wow.
taking care of an elderly people. And at the end of the year, no English, no papers, nothing. I said to myself, this have to change. And I'm not going to stop here. And I had guidance. I believe in the power. I got guided to a broker from my same country here in Naples, and he told me, you can sell rocks. You don't need papers. You don't need. I said, I don't even speak English. Naples at that time, there was no Spanish speaking people.
Wow.
And I said, I'm going to do it. I will believe in me. And after 4 years, I own 25 homes.
Wow.
Clear. And I consider myself one of the Spanish pioneer leaders here in
Wow.
Naples. And when the market crashed, that's the mindset. And that's why I'm going to want to go there. Market crash, you lose everything and your mind goes with that. So what happened to me is like, I didn't believe in myself again. I was lost for a little bit because all that power that you have, all that hard work, you lose that, then the mind goes.
Yes.
But if you change, I went 2016. I went to Unleash the Power from Tony Robbins, and
Firewalker.
yeah, it did change my life again, and it made me react and say, hey, shake it. It happened. You did it once. You can make it again.
Mm.
And I'm here, and I'm very proud and happy where I am, and very happy of the people that support my back, and they are with me, and guiding and being around everybody with the same mindset.
Right.
It
That's
will
an amazing
always.
story. That's an
It's
amazing story, and it's funny.
only.
Well, you know what? You just inspired me. I'll tell you what. And it's funny because I went through something similar, but it just shows you that even as strong as you were, right? Like for you to come to this country with your 3 little kids, riding your bike around, building that up, 25 homes, all that stuff, and then you take a big shot, and then you still kind of lose that mindset again. So it just shows you how important it is to continually to work on your mind on a daily basis, because you had already done what most people think is impossible, and
Yeah,
even then your confidence was shaken, right? Like the mind is a crazy thing, you
it
know
is.
and it took you a while to get back, but like you said, we all need some help and some coaching, and sure enough, you went to Tony Robbins, and you kind of flipped that switch again, like, what am I doing? I'm suffering right now, right? Like I'm creating these stories about whether I have what it takes, or was I a fraud. You're coming up with all sorts of stuff, and really the minute you come up with an empowering story, and you truly believe it, and you work on that every single day, then it becomes part of you, right? But like Tony says, training never stops, right? Like you're not just going to be like, oh, got it, figured it out. It's every single day I'm pumping that stuff into the mind to make sure that, because there's always going to be hits. There's
Yes.
always going to be change. It's not that they're not coming. It's that you're going to be much stronger next time they come. So
And
kudos to you. I'm
that's
proud
the
of you.
beauty, to be more strong, and keep going, never stop. I think that's the most important. So please explain to the audience, what is your talent development program and
Sure.
the value that provides to an individual.
Absolutely. So, as you know, EXP has their own mentorship program. So if you come into EXP, if you're a new agent, they require you to go through a program. Now, we had already built a coaching program, the talent development program, prior to getting an EXP. So as people come in, we actually are able to waive the EXP program and coach the agents right here locally. So the talent development program, as I mentioned before, started with just me, right? Gil said, hey, I'd love to form an official mentorship program for the office and the official coaching program. Is this something you would want to do? And at the time I was like, yeah, absolutely. Like I want to start this thing. And so we started a program where agents would coach with me for their first 2 deals. And, there'd be a referral fee for the first couple of deals for me to help them through their deals. Now, remember, at this time, I'm also doing my own production and all sorts of stuff. So I'm taking on every new agent that comes into the office, and I'm coaching them through their first couple of deals. So that was the initial program. Then over time, what I started to do was say, okay, how do I multiply myself? Because I cannot, with the way we started growing, I was like, there's no way I'm busting at the seams. So one thing I did was I created a website, and I started doing webinars and video trainings, right? So all of you guys in Sandra's group or anybody else can always go to coachwithbobby.com. I have all my YouTube videos, and that's how I started. I started making a ton of videos on everything that agents would ask me all the time, like how to write a purchase contract, how do I, put a search together? How do I go on a listing appointment? How do I do a buyer's consultation? And I was just like, okay, I have to get more efficient. So what I started to do was say, hey, look, if they came to me with something, I'd say, it's not like I would just shove them to the videos. I would just say, hey, watch the video first. Let me see you get some buy-in. And then after you watch the video, let's talk. Right. So that way I was able to make sure that the agent was building that muscle of self-reliance, but then at the same time, still give them the attention that they needed. But I found that it was cutting out, 50% of the time that I was spending repeating myself. Right. So that's how it started. I formed a website called jointdp.com, jointtalentdevelopmentprogram.com. You can feel free to look at that as well. And so that's how I kind of started the program. What ended up happening was, as we joined this EXP thing, and then it just started to really blow up. So I was like, okay, even that's not enough help for me. So and at this point in time, Gil and I wanted to focus on growing the organization. So I said, okay, well, I need some help. Let me start empowering some leaders. And that's another kind of big mantra here is, we're empowering people, man. Like I want you to do exactly what we're doing, right? So I found some leaders that were great coaches, and then I basically started coaching the coaches, right? And just created a team. So now we have about 8 coaches in the office. And now when a new agent comes in, I will assign them to a coach, usually based on either the team they came in. So some of the coaches will coach their own people.
Mhm.
So in other words, if you were to bring somebody into your front line, Sandra, you told me, hey, Bobby, I want to coach only the people that I bring in, it's no problem. We have you go through the EXP certification. You go through a little training with me, and and then you're able to train your people. And then I have coaches in the office that will train anybody. Obviously, there's an incentive for the coaches as well. They get a 25% referral fee on the first couple of deals. And to be quite honest with you, I found coaching agents to be one of the best things that ever happened to me. As far as my business, because they always say if you want to learn, teach. So it's like learning to put your thoughts together, learning to put those trainings together, learning how to motivate people, and what one person needs versus another person needs. It's a great skill to build. And so now the program is flowing. I don't coach people personally anymore, but I have the group. And then, Gil and I are focusing on, more things, man. Everything from growing the organization to leads teams. I just came back from the Dominican Republic. We're starting to bring some projects back for you guys to sell. Some resort investment projects out there. So I mean, we're thinking bigger and bigger every day.
That is great. I just got my certify designation. Well, certify is international designation, which is the CIPS, and it opens the door to actually be involved with all these other countries and be part of EXP. Helps me also to expand to all the other countries. It's really really important, like you said, never stop learning. And
Never.
yeah, I love that. So my next question you already answered was, what with over 1,200 agents, how do you apply the TDP? But you already told me. So you also have multiple coaches. Do you feel sometimes, you say you're not coaching anymore, your leaders are coaching. Do you feel sometimes that growing the organization in different places, can you put different coaches in all the states and other countries, and that will keep helping you to grow your part of the organization? How can you guys manage? I know you have a structure, an organization, but how did you get to that point?
Sure. So just to clarify, I say I don't coach anymore, but that's actually not true. So I do have a lead team. I do have a leads team, and I am the main coach of that team. And to be quite honest with you, there's still a lot of leaders and a lot of agents that will reach out. So I try to like kind of step in. Like I think I've saved like 3 deals for people in the past 2 weeks. You know what I mean? Like, so when they have to pull that emergency cord, they'll call Bob,
You're
right?
there.
But as far as scaling this, so it's a great question. So, obviously we're based in Orlando, Florida. That's where we have our office. That's where we have our trainings. That's where we do our stuff. And so, if it's a difference from the agents that are obviously the 400 plus agents we have in Central Florida to the other ones around the country. We do have a Facebook page, so we do like to live cast our trainings in there, so that helps, right? But like you mentioned, the important thing is whenever somebody's growing in another place, it's important to find leaders in that place, right? And so I found out a couple things, like number one is, if you're gonna build outside of your main area, you'd like to have some kind of energy, culture, activity, or at least a leader there, right? So if I were to find you, you're a perfect example. Like, you're in Naples, but you're a leader. Like, you're the person that, came here with nothing and like build it up. Like, this is what you do. So somebody like you, it's actually not that hard to build, because you were going to build anyway. I'm just going to give you all the resources and things you need, and then I'm going to show you my playbook and say copy it. Like, and if we can help, we'll go help. We'll do whatever we can do. For folks like, let's say, that aren't that maybe just are starting or things like that, it's also a great angle to find a leader and say, I'm going to start putting people under you in that area. Right. So rather than you particularly have that person in your front line, which it took me a while to kind of learn this, because at first, as you know, it's like you're thinking all the time about frontline, right? But at the end of the day, if somebody's not here and I have somebody in my downline in that area, I'd rather them be serviced by that person, because it's going to be a lot better for that agent. And I think that increases the chances that that person is going to succeed and do well in the game. And so, like I said, it's really more about opening up our playbook, finding leaders where you're at, having them plug into the things that we do. And then obviously we haven't even really talked about everything EXP provides, right? It just happened to be that we were doing all this stuff prior to EXP, but the reality is that the company was built to be cloud-based. And so if you become a master of showing agents how to leverage EXP World, if you become a master of having agents plug into the events, I can't overstate the power of live events. You just talked to me about NAREP and you're just like, oh my God, it's amazing. Just talk to me about Tony Robbins. You're like, oh my God, changed my life. Well, you picked up your butt, you paid some money, and you went into these events. And I can tell you, and I'm sure you would agree, that the ROI has been astronomical for whatever you spent to go to that freaking event, and so what we have to understand is that there are things in place for people to plug into, but they only work if they plug in. And you got to make sure that you let them know how important it is. Like EXPCon, guys, coming up November 9th through the 11th. Got to be at EXPCon. I'm telling you, we brought about 45 agents or something to the build conference in Dallas with Brent Gove. I can tell you that I could feel the change in these agents, the ones that had been with us and thought maybe we were just the EXP was us. And then they went over there and they're like, oh my God, we're part of this like amazing machine. And, they're meeting our billionaire founder in person in the lobby or at the bar. And they're like listening to people that look just like them and started just like them and had the same limiting beliefs as them on stage, telling them what they did in just a year or two, and it's like, it just does so much heavy lifting. So that's how you spread the program. Ideally, my dream is to make sure home base is good, and then actually go to different areas and different places and actually sit down with leaders like you and just say, here's our playbook. Here's how you set up a talent development program. Here's how we did this. Here's how we did this. Here's how you start your teams. Here's how you encourage other people to start teams, and just give them the whole playbook, because that's the thing is, it only helps all of us if other people grow. And I've just never been a part of a company like that. I mean, as much as, some people from outside might say something about EXP, show me a company that's like that. Show me a company that is so excited about seeing you do well.
It's amazing. And in the NAREP event that you mentioned, actually, EXP was present, and it was amazing. The founder was there. He was sitting with us, and he actually was happy to see everybody there. He goes and talk to you like you're one of the family. And that for me was like, I can't believe this. I am touching him. I took a picture with him, and then you are around all these people and all the NAREP people that they are amazing professionals. And like you said, what do you bring back from all this experience are unique? I couldn't go to the one in Dallas because my son had COVID, and last minute I had to sell my ticket, and it was sad to miss an event like that. Yesterday I tried to buy the one for Cabo. It's sold out. So I was like, what happened here? Did I miss it?
Oh yeah, you missed it. Like literally, they announced that in Dallas, and you had to buy it then. I mean, but
Oh wow.
I'm sure some of them will open up. You know how
Hopefully
it is.
they were last minute, like they were selling last minute for Dallas. So maybe I will I will be lucky for that. So
Yes.
well, thank you very much for your time and everything that you share. I'm sure that everybody that have hear you, they are really they would be looking forward not just to look like I said for the collaboration, but the mindset I think is the most important for any business. And it's amazing what can we do when your mind isn't going to the right way and thinking the right things. So what would you
Amen.
say to the new generation, to the new real estate generation that they're coming, that you see them with their phones technology, they are closing, they are doing good deals. When you try to talk to them, they still have that 100% in their mind. What would you tell them?
Well, I always say, so I'm 42 now, right? So, I think it's funny. If you go in our office, I swear to you, there's 19-year-olds, there's 20-year-olds, there's 23-year-olds. Like, I feel like our office maybe average 30 years old. Like, I really do. And so it's great because I feel like there's a new era coming here. And I think a lot of the young folks are realizing that they want to be in an industry where they can control their time and control their destiny. What I would tell them if I could go back in time, right, to my 22-year-old self, I would say, number one, think in 10-year terms, right? Stop thinking that 2 years is a long time. Whatever you're building is a 10-year play, right? And if you think like that, what happens is you don't skip steps, right? You just do the work. And the magic starts to happen around 3 to 5 years, and then you get really good. And then, by year 10, you've reached your goals. Don't try to get there too fast. Just do the work. And then the other thing is now that you're thinking long term, let's start thinking like an entrepreneur. I called this the rise of the real estate entrepreneur, right? So you're not an agent, you're an entrepreneur, which is a different mindset. And if you can start thinking this way right now, I'm saving you years of your life. You don't want to wait until 10 years from now to realize you didn't build it for the long game, right? And so if you start doing this right, with your production and everything you do is like, hey, what am I building for the long term? And if you're thinking that way, you're thinking to yourself, okay, transactions are great, right? But eventually you start doing transactions and you want to put systems in your transactions so that you don't have to do as much work to make the same money or more money, right? So I do a talk called The Rise of the Real Estate Entrepreneur, and I show you how to be an entrepreneur in every aspect that most people think about in real estate. Number one is just a single agent in production, right? So if you're thinking like an entrepreneur, you're saying to yourself, okay, cool, I built this up, I've grinded it out for a while, I know the game, but how do I make this game? How do I free up my time so that I can work on bigger things, right? The things that are going to free me long term, like revenue share, agent attraction, investing. You have 25 homes. I mean, that takes time to do, right? It takes capital to do. So when you're in production, right, be thinking about how do I set up systems. The first system is going to be your CRM. Master your CRM so you can get yourself organized, so you run this like a business. Then you might say to yourself, hey man, I don't even want to deal with paperwork anymore. Like maybe I get a great TC. Great. Now you have a transaction coordinator. You don't even deal with paperwork. They coordinate your closings for you. You're the contact, you're the relationship builder. You do it that way. Maybe at some point you get a buyer's agent or assistant. So now what you've done is you've built a business out of production, right?
Wow.
And now you're no longer having to work 24/7 to make the same or more money. And then we can do the same thing as being a team leader if that's something you choose to do. And then in everything else that you do, including agent attraction and just thinking like a business owner rather than being self-employed. And there's a big difference. And this is for the young folks out there. When somebody says self-employed, that just means you just gave yourself your own job. That is not the same as being a business owner. A business owner is able to step away from their business and have their business work without them, or at least them touching upon the business, but not working in the business. And that is a hard mentality for young folks to get. I didn't get it. I didn't get it. But also I didn't have that kind of mentorship either. Nobody was telling me that, like, hey man, I know you're young. I know you're 22 years old, man, but like, slow and steady, stick to it, stay committed, think long-term, because before you know it, you blink and 10 years went by, and this is true.
Yeah.
It's just, but when you're 22, you think 10 years is like an eternity, right? But it's not, guys. If you're listening, it's not. Just relax, do the work, build this thing for long term, and you'll be financially free. Definitely in 10, maybe even 5 with this model. So that's my advice.
Thank you very much, Bobby, for your time. I really have to. I'm very happy that you were here in the show. I know that everybody will appreciate all what you had told us today. So thank you very much.
Absolutely. I appreciate you having me on. Take care and have a great weekend.
You too. Bye bye.